Hey, this is Kip Winger, and you're listening to Focus on Metal.
Focus on Metal!
Hey, Metalheads, Scott here.
And Richie.
Welcoming you back to yet another episode of that which we like to call Focus on Metal. How we doing, man?
I'm good. I'm glad I'm here because I wasn't supposed to be.
Yeah, welcome to the construction chaos. It's great. Yeah, I was like, I've got an interview scheduled next week, and I'm praying that, and I told him ahead of time that I was putting this time slot in because I have to work around the construction noise. And I just think back to the episode, probably the first episode you heard of us was the interview that I did with Martin, and they were roofing my house. And so they were pounding shingles directly above my head. I think that was the first one you might have heard. But yeah, I think I did 3 episodes that day because it was like, well, they're roofing, I'll get a bunch of things in, and yeah. They were right above my head for Martin, so this is kind of taking me back to that.
Sure of inconsiderate bastards.
Well, yeah. So, yeah, a little bit of chaos. Hopefully, it'll be good, but no chaos for the interview that we have that you did with Kip Winger this week.
Yeah, I'm a massive Winger fan. I'm not going to lie.
Mm-hmm.
I'd even go as far as to say they're in my top 5 bands.
Yeah.
Which you're looking at me like, what? I've just been a fan since the debut.
Yeah.
And I know their catalogue isn't that big. And there was a break in between. Like the new album is their 7th.
Right. Yeah.
And their first album came out in 88, which is 35 years ago.
Yeah.
Sure, I wish they had more product, but, Kip's busy. He's done solo albums. Reb, of course, is the longest tenured guitarist in Whitesnake.
Yep.
Be interesting to see what happens with Whitesnake because they just released their the Still Good to Be Bad record.
Just rolled in today.
Well, you have it.
Just rolled in today.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the comment I made back out on Twitter was that, yeah, and it actually got here in quicker time after release date than 72 Seasons did.
Yeah. I love what David Coverdale has done with those reissues.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
If you're a fan of those records, you get all the bells and whistles. Mm-hmm. You get the demos, there's live stuff, they're just well packaged, remixed, remastered.
Yeah, I've got every single one of them, and they're great. And that one I actually took the opportunity to get the limited blue vinyl version as well. So I got the box set and I got the vinyl.
Okay.
But yeah, and yeah, like I was saying, it got here in quicker time after release date than 72 Seasons did.
But what he's doing, Coverdale, and probably some of it is has to do with licensing. He's doing what a lot of other bands aren't doing. He's re-releasing the catalogue now that wasn't multi-platinum, that probably isn't from what people think of the classic era. Because when you think of catalogue now, bands just keep going to the well.
Yep.
When all the multi-platinum records came out, 70s and 80s.
Yep.
He's releasing an album that came out in 2008.
And I fully expect him to continue to do that.
Yeah, if he does it with Forevermore, I'm all over that because I think that album's a masterpiece as well. We've already gone down a rabbit hole.
We have, but that's all right. That's all right. That's what a discussion episode's about.
Yeah, but back to Winger.
Yeah.
Massive fan. I think I've seen him 4 or 5 times. There was one weekend that I believe when I moved here, I'd never seen him live. I'd seen Reb with Whitesnake a couple of times in Ireland when he played.
Yeah.
But I'd never seen Winger, and there was one weekend here that they played close enough to here, or my place.
Yeah.
2 shows in 3 days, and I went to both of them.
Yeah. Oh.
It just had to be done. I did the same thing with Cinderella, who I'd never seen.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I'd seen Cinderella once at Donington, but I'd never seen him play a full set.
Yeah.
And I did the same thing there. My wife was like, "What are you doing going to see him twice?" You wouldn't understand.
They usually don't. So yeah, 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 cool. Yeah, great. I mean, great interview. As we said before we actually started recording, yeah, he's a tough talk to. It's definitely. I mean, granted, you caught him before Monsters of Rock as well, so I'm sure he had his head in that game as well. But in the beginning of it, it's definitely kind of is he really going to engage or isn't he going to engage? And eventually he does, but it's kind of a little bit of a slog before you got there.
I don't know whether he was doing a run at him. You have to think he's got shows coming up on the boat, and here he is probably doing a run of interviews.
Yeah,
and I think he's probably doing the majority of the interviews promoting the record.
Probably, yeah.
But yeah. This is probably going to come out now, and the record's coming out on the 8th, I believe. So I've had the record for a couple of weeks, and it's outstanding.
Yeah.
And every time I've interviewed him, he's always asked me, have I heard the record? And I always make sure when we talk to him that I've heard it. Because,
well, not that, but you also, it was interesting because we asked you that, right? And then you said, yeah, which is probably an answer he gets a lot. And then you were like, I like this about this song. I like this about this song. I like this song, and this. And then he was like,
he knew I'd heard
changed.
It.
Yeah.
He knew I'd heard it. Yeah.
Not only that you heard it, but you considered it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the one thing I'll say against that, and I've said it before, I fucking hate MP3s.
Yeah.
I'm a physical product guy. So have I listened to the record a few times? Yes, but I really can't wait to get it.
Yeah.
On the physical format is out the 8th, and the fucking vinyl's not out till August.
Yes.
So,
yeah, and that's been and that's the thing with that label for a couple of them, right? Because it's all Sweet and Lynch, same deal. It's not out till August. It's they're all of them for that. It's a big gap. So that's why go back to the earlier rabbit hole where I was really happy that I got the box set and I got the vinyl from Whitesnake on the same day.
Okay,
I'm
going to have a look at them before I leave here then. I have the original Good to Be Bad vinyl, which was probably pretty difficult to get in 2008, but I've got a copy.
Yeah, I'm sure it was. Yeah. But it's but I did see that it's been a big gap. I'm even probably betting that when Extremes 6 comes out, that I'll get the CD on one day and I'll get the vinyl months later. I hope not.
They're not on Frontiers, though, are they?
No, they're not.
It's ear music, isn't it? They're not on Frontiers.
Yeah, they're not on Frontiers. Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see if there's a gap on that one or not. But yeah, it seems to be like okay, I guess we're just waiting. So, and it was even they did the re-release of Lillian Axe, Poetic Justice, and that one, it took forever. That was actually a whole comedy of errors with bad pressings and weather and all kinds of crap. But I finally, after, 5 months, got it.
No way.
Yeah, it was a while.
What, did they keep emailing you, giving you these bullshit excuses?
Well, no, I'd go, hey, what's going on? And it would be, they would tell me what was going on. And some of it, it's legit. They were basically flooded out. You can go to the Weather Channel and be like, oh, yeah, they're fucked. So it was, but, it was constant communication and stuff. And it was, funny also, Wayne Stokely, Twitter, was giving me all kinds of shit about the fact that, he had his and I didn't have mine. But, finally got it in. So there you go. You can start giving me shit, Wayne. But talking about releases, right? We're kind of might as well. We're a little bit late to the game, but what the fuck? I don't care.
No.
Talk about 72 seasons.
Yeah, stop. Before we even get into that, here's the one thing I'm never a fan of is talking about a record and reviewing it a day or two after you have it.
You got to absorb it. Shit, yeah.
So I don't give a fuck whether we're late to the game. I'd rather be late to the game and absorb the record than try and be first.
Yeah.
Because everyone tries to be first on everything.
Yeah,
So,
no, I don't want to be first, but it's, we're just a little bit lagging, but whatever.
Yeah. So we talked a little bit about this record before.
Yeah, when the first two singles, we talked about the first one, we talked about the second one, yeah.
Yeah. And of course, one of the gripes I have about bands now is they release a quarter of the album before it's even out, and Metallica more or less did this.
They did, yeah. And then once it actually did get released, they essentially released videos for like every other song too, just boom, boom, boom,
Every
boom, boom.
single song, yeah.
Which is, I mean, that's fine. And what's funny is that even after all of it, I don't know why, if it's just something in my head, but it's still, my favorite track on here is still that first single. It's still Lux.
Okay.
That's still my top track is that. And my second is Shadows Follow.
Shadows Follow, the second song.
Yeah.
Well, here so we've had the Black Album, and then we have the Yellow Album.
We do. We have, maybe in honor of Stryper, it's the Yellow and Black album.
I think Michael Sweets posted about that.
It's the Yellow and Black Talic Attack.
Yeah, I think someone has put a meme up with the Stryper logo on the cover of this.
You know, maybe they're harking back to Ron with the Young Metal Attack, the Yellow and Black Metallic Attack. See? But yeah, and it's so what kind of cheesed me off about the delay was, so I have this version.
Hang on, how long was the delay? Because I ordered this on Amazon the day before it was released, and I got home the day it was released, and I had it.
I ordered this within the hour the album was released. I'm sorry, announced. Within the hour the album was announced.
November last year,
I
wasn't
ordered this.
November.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. That day, within that hour, I ordered it. This is also the one that comes, the one that comes directly from Metallica.
Yeah, you've got shit from you remember the fan club, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you got yours before I got mine. And these were the first ones off the stampers.
Oh, they own their own vinyl factory now.
Yeah, the foundry. Yeah.
Yeah.
So these are the first ones off the stampers too. So the first one's done.
So when did you get it? It was released on a Friday.
It was released on a Friday, and I ended up getting it, I want to say, I think the Wednesday. Yeah.
That's terrible.
What the fuck? Yeah.
How much did you pay for it?
And the CD too.
How much did you pay for it? You probably would have, that's probably 50, is it? For the vinyl?
I don't remember.
Okay.
Been that long, too long.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah.
That's fucking terrible.
It is, yeah.
Like, you're paying for it in November, they own the factory, they're first off the press. You bought a shit ton of, I'm looking around here, and I know, I've known you long enough now, you bought a fucking shit ton of stuff off that fan club.
Yep.
And I get it before you.
Yeah, lots of people did. Yeah, because it was, release day, and everyone's posting their unboxing pictures and stuff, and it's kind of like, well, and I get here after work, and I'm thinking, yeah, it's going to be here. Nope.
Now, what did they offer when it came to the record? Because when Hardwired came out, I bought that on CD, and I think it came as like 2 or 3 CD version. But then a while after the album came out, I was in some record store, and they had like this box set that had the vinyl box set, and it had like the 12-inch with the extra studio track that they released, Lords of Summer.
Yeah.
And then it had the B-sides, and it had like badges and stuff like that.
I've never seen that version.
Have you not? So
No.
Did they offer anything like that for 72 seasons?
Nope.
Nothing at all?
Nope.
That's unusual these days, isn't it?
It's very unusual, but they kept it to pretty much, this is what we're putting out. And it could be, now that they have done enough stuff with Blackened Records, that they know kind of what the pressing demands are. That Foundry is very manual. And so I think they know what that throughput is, and they don't want to overpromise, underdeliver.
Are they just producing Metallica stuff and that's it?
the bulk of what is done through the Foundry is Metallica stuff. Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Imagine having the power and the cash to say, right, we'll just buy this. The factory will buy it. We'll cut out the supplier. We'll supply it. We'll do it ourselves.
In a way, it's a smart idea. I mean, they're in a great region, right? Because you've got a lot of other smaller pressers in that area as well. So they have some good networking going on. And it's been kind of a long time pressing area as well. So it's good. And then the fact that they know that with this resurgence, it's probably a hell of a good investment as well. So and they do have really, really good equipment, but it is very manual.
And I still got mine before yours.
Yeah. And more so because a lot of pressing plants, that record comes off the stamper and it just goes onto a spindle and they stack a bunch of them on the spindle and then they quickly go to boxing and it moves along. The Foundry is one of the few plants I've seen where they actually get them off the stamper, they go on the spindle, then they get put into smaller racks and they use wasted albums as weights to flatten them as they cure. So rather than being boxed right away, they actually get cured and flat, and then they get boxed. So they actually end up having a much less chance of warp on their albums because they do that. One of mine is warped. But it plays
fine, but it's warped.
But it's a much more manual process. But I couldn't believe it. Was like, what the fuck? You would think that you get it like day of or before, but not like after everybody. But yeah, it did.
I've been playing this album a lot, and when I say a lot, like I mean 3, 4, 5 times a week.
Yeah.
And when I play it all.
How often did you play Hardwired?
Not as much in the beginning as this one.
Really?
Yeah.
And the same with Death Magnetic?
Yeah. I wouldn't say I played Death Magnetic a hell of a lot when I got it first.
And I put those 3 and then stopped there because starting with Death Magnetic, they've shifted into, to my mind, and then a few other longtime Metallica people that I've talked to as well, they've shifted in this other little sonic space. And so there is this sameness to the sound of all 3 of those albums. This one definitely has some other more aggressive stuff on there, which I think is why I like Lux, because it breaks out of that in some ways. And Kirk does a bit more on this as well, but they all, to me, there is kind of this uniformity to it, which is weird because you think Kill 'Em All does not sound like Ride, and Ride does not sound like Master, and Master does not sound like Justice, and Black Album definitely doesn't sound like that. Load, Reload, they're similar, but then again, a lot of them same session. So, okay, we're not going to talk about Lulu.
Saint Anger.
And Saint Anger has its own thing. I think, there's a lot of turmoil and other shit that goes with Saint Anger as well. But then Death Magnetic, and I've talked about this on the show before, is when Death Magnetic came out, I initially was like, and I had to go back to it a while later, and then it was like, all right, I guess I am liking this. But on first listen, it was, and then the same thing with Hardwired, but then Hardwired does have some really good songs on there that were catchy, probably also because I've heard them live, and but then this one, obviously Lux comes out, and I'm like, oh, good, they step change. And I think we talked about this too, and I was hoping that more of it would sound like Lux, and less of it sounds like Lux, and a lot of it does sound more like the prior 2 albums to me.
I think you get a bit of everything.
There is.
If you go through all their albums, it's like, yep, that sounds a bit like that. Like Lux is your Kill 'Em All.
Yeah.
Throwback.
Yep.
You Must Burn is Load. Slow.
Yeah. Yep.
Yep. 72 Seasons, I love. The title track is excellent. Shadows Follow, yeah, is really good as well. The last song, Inamorata, it's too long. I love the middle of it because it's very like Tin Lizzy sounding. The twin guitars.
Yep.
But 11, it goes on for
it's a
11
long,
minutes.
and
It's a
the
long
thing
song.
is in some of the stuff that's been going on in social media, a lot of people actually choose that song as their favorite song off the album.
Yeah,
Which is interesting.
it's not. I'm not saying it's crap.
But you wonder if they've been longtime fans, and if you were to ask them their favorite album, if they would say, "Oh, yeah, I really liked Injustice," where you had these. I'm going to put a part after a part after a part.
Well, there's some of that on this record too.
Yeah,
Chasing Lights one
Yeah.
track that could, it sounds like something off Justice.
of course, Chasing Light sounds like an Iron Maiden song title. When I read it, I was like, "Oh, that sounds like a Maiden song."
Crown of Barbed Wire. Like Jesus, some of the song titles on this: Screaming Suicide.
That's a good song. I
Yeah.
like that one.
Yeah, it's a good song. I think it's a very, very good record. At this stage of their career, they don't have to bring out new albums at all.
No, they don't.
The fact that they recorded this and kept it hidden, and then boom, Lux came out like fuck, new Metallica record.
Yeah.
The big bands can do that.
Yeah, and they did put some. I mean, they also they could have just thrown something quick together, but they put really good workmanship with the album as well, and the thoughtfulness of how they did the layout and everything
the
on it.
bands like Metallica and Iron Maiden and
Yeah.
Kiss, they never skimp on the fucking packaging.
But they don't. It was part of Kiss's whole marketing thing, though, to do that. Metallica could have not done this and still had just as many sales. But the fact that they were like, "Yeah, we're gonna do that," and they're gonna have that, you got the crib, it kind of gets reprised with the crib with the cutout as well. And I don't know if you got the CD or not.
No, I didn't. Just a vinyl.
So the CD is this crazy
All right.
other thing that opens up, and you have all those other tableaus and the booklet and stuff. So it's.
Did you get the cassette?
I did not
8-track?
get the cassette. Oh God, no 8-tracks, please.
Damn.
No freaking 8-tracks. Oh God, hate 8-tracks. God damn.
It's a fucking long record. They've always done these 6 minutes, 7 minutes,
Yeah.
8 minutes, 6 minutes. You got Lux is 3 minutes, and then you got one track, another song. I think Too Far Gone is just over 4, and that's trashy. Like there's some trashy stuff on it.
Yeah.
But for the most part, the fucking songs are long. They're 5+.
Yeah, somebody did I don't know if it just came out this week or I just happened to notice this week, but somebody actually did a fan mix where they cut out all of the kind of extra shit and cut the album down to a more succinct format and was like, yeah, that's the album right there.
Which band needs more editing, Iron Maiden or Metallica?
Maiden. I don't have to even
No
think
hesitation
about that.
there.
I don't have to. And what's weird is
Is that because we don't have a 2-minute Robert Trujillo bass solo at the beginning of every song?
it's weird that I say Maiden when you're sitting there with Kevin Shirley and he's just like, go, 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 go. So it's like with Kevin pushing them along, how do they come up with such long fucking songs? Where with this was like they were writing and they were iterating and they were taking their time and it's like, yeah, but it's, Maiden is still they need to be edited. That's
Yeah.
what Martin was good for.
Yeah. I'm probably going to piss you off now. Because I know you're a fan of this guy. I can't fucking... And I've listened to this album a lot. I have a hard time remembering one fucking guitar solo Kirk Hammett does on the whole record.
That's because you remember those melodic solos that he did before that had that catchy hook type of stuff that's in there. And he doesn't do that on this album.
Yeah. So you can understand what I'm saying. You the same way?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
And usually on the other albums as well, there's a modulation in the song, and then Kirk's solo comes in as well. So you already have that shift in there. Kind of go back to the interview for this week that, Kip talks about putting a modulation in a song and shifting it and stuff. And some of the other albums, that's what they did before Kirk did a solo. It made it more memorable. It built that up. And you go, ooh, and you tend to listen to that and pull it in more. That doesn't happen here.
Because there's songs on this, like, and the riffs will just go through my head.
Mm-hmm.
Like Chasing Light is a riff I love. Lux Eterna is a riff I love, 72 Seasons. And the riffs they bore into your brain.
Yep.
The more you listen to it. The solos, if you asked me to say, what's your favorite solo on the record, I couldn't name one of them.
Yeah, there's no big standout on here solo-wise. No, there is a lot of riffs. It's pretty much showing the aptitude that James has still for writing riffs. Yeah.
But as records go, I think it's a very strong Metallica record.
Yeah.
And you'll have your percentage of fans, the usual shit.
Mm-hmm.
The band died after Cliff died, and it's not Metallica, and everything they release now is shit. And then you got a lot of fans there who give it a listen, and then they might say, "Oh yeah, I listened, I tried to like it, and I didn't." And then you've got the other fans, so you're not a true fan if you don't love everything they do.
Right.
I really do like this record a lot.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to lie and say, oh yeah, it's the best thing they've ever done, and everything they do is great. I'm glad bands like this bother their arse bringing out new music, and I can still get it and get excited about a release date on records, because when you look at bands like AC/DC and Metallica and even I know Winger are a smaller band, but Winger bringing out a new record, and Overkill just brought out a new record.
Yep.
And we can still get excited about that the band's even bother to release new music now.
Yep.
And
Tigers of Pantang, new album coming out tomorrow.
And this is the biggest metal band in the world.
Yep.
Who are playing stadiums, and they're still bringing out new music, and long may it continue.
And of course, as we're speaking about this, there are still there's three test pressings of the new Pantang album still available for sale.
Okay.
I was going to buy it.
Here's a good one for you now. It's interesting you bring up that band. They had a record fair behind us here on Saturday.
Oh, Mill 5, yeah.
Yeah, and I went over and I got the UK picture disc of Persistence of Time.
Uh-huh.
I got Wildcat, Tigers of Pantang.
That's a great cover.
I got Fire Down Under.
Uh-huh.
I got Made in Japan. And I got Ready and Willing. $80 for all of them.
Wow. Which Fire Down Under version did you get?
I don't know. I think it's a major label one.
Okay.
The picture disc for Persistence of Time is a UK picture disc.
Yeah.
But I was like, fuck yeah, fuck yeah. And the guy from the record store in there, he came out and said, "Did you get anything?" I'm like, "You're fucking right, I did."
Yeah, that's great. That's great. Yeah,
I had a good day.
I love the cover of Wildcat. Oh, that's
yeah.
It's my favorite covers.
I was actually listening to it before I came down tonight, and I was like, "Yeah, Scott loves this shit."
Yeah. Oh yeah. And
Chris Sangarides did it.
I mean, I just bought a. I have a older version of Fire Down Under, but then I just picked up a music on vinyl one.
Okay.
And just because, I just love that album.
$10 for that one.
Wow.
Fire Down Under.
Wow. That's
yeah.
good.
The most expensive one was the picture disc was $30, but it's a fucking cool picture disc.
Yeah.
And that Persistence of Time is a fucking great album.
And they just put the yellow cover on it, right? Is that what they did? Just put the yellow cover on the disc?
No. It's got a picture of the band on one side with this, and then on the other side it's got. Do you remember the clock they had with the faces with each of the eyes and lights in them? That's the main cover.
Cool. That's nice.
Yeah,
That's
awesome. It's a UK pressing. It's a little bit different.
Yeah.
It doesn't have the lyrics or anything like that, but the fucking thing
the
looks
picture
great.
discs don't. So yeah.
Yeah, it's fucking cool. But so that was a good day.
Yeah, that definitely was a good day. Holy shit. Yeah.
And I asked about the Eric Carr thing.
I got one.
Oh, you got one, yeah, because he had two and they were gone.
Yeah, I got one.
The minute he opened the door, they were gone. This record store day thing.
Uh-huh. Yeah, they flew.
How many did it press? 500? 1,000?
I want to say
they have to be limited.
750. I could check Discogs because I have it in my Discogs. They made the cover match the other solo albums. So it's like it's black with Eric's picture
Is it
in
a
orange.
double album or a single?
It's a double.
Oh, so probably what, 20, 25 songs?
I don't know. Is it over there? Not sure if it's over there or if it's in the bedroom.
You went to all this trouble and you don't know where it is.
Well, I had it in a pile,
I know.
but then I had to
I know you're
move
moving
everything out of the way.
The construction.
Yeah, so it was like, so everything's everywhere. But yeah.
Fuck's sake.
Yeah.
Focus.
Yeah, I've even got a couple of, because some of the releases are different in the UK, so I actually do have a couple of UK things coming in too.
What? Go on. Tell me. You can't remember. You don't, and you're probably going to get them in fucking February next year.
No, they're already on their way. They're already on their way. Yeah, one of them was a nice, it's a different version of the Stones Beggars Banquet that they released in Europe.
So what did you get? What were the ones you wanted to get and you got them? Because I'm not a record store day guy, really. Because you went, you stood outside, you went...
I did. I stood in a big-ass line.
You were in the line, you went in, and... So listen, when they opened the door, is it fucking pandemonium like Black Friday, or how did they do it?
No, they don't. They at least for Newbury, they don't. Yeah, so I got Dio Live in Fresno. I got the big thing I was going for that was giving me the most agita about not being able to get
Van Halen.
was Van Halen. One of the other guys I talked with on Twitter from Connecticut, he drove 5 hours until he found a copy.
Yeah, but is that just a record store day thing, or are they going to eventually release it generally?
They'll probably release it in general. This was a red vinyl version.
It's a triple vinyl, isn't it? With the,
4.
Four. And it's got some of the tracks, I believe, that aren't on the original CD.
Yeah.
It's got The Dream Is Over, I believe.
So that one, the Motorhead Lost Tapes Volume 4. I've already got 1 through 3.
Yeah, they found them then.
The Eric Carr one. Shallow Life.
Shadow Life.
Yeah. Shallow Life from Lacuna Coil, and also a Dark Adrenaline from Lacuna Coil. And then there was a best of UFO, Last Man Standing. Those were all the things I was going for.
And
the only one I didn't get that day was Eric Carr.
And what were they selling them at? 40 each? Well, the Van Halen one had to be 60 or 70.
No, the Van Halen one's 117.
Ooh. Oh my God.
It's 4.
I don't care. Ooh.
Vinyl is not cheap.
I know, but fuck me, that's a lot of money.
Vinyl is not cheap.
Okay. So the rest of them were probably 40 each.
They varied between that. I think one of them was 77. Yeah, they vary.
The UFO must have been a double.
Yep.
Okay. I didn't even really look to see what was on it. I think there's a Mr. Big record.
There is. Yeah, I have that. I got that too. The Mr. Big on a blue vinyl.
Okay. Do you not have that on vinyl anyway? The original?
I had it on CD.
Oh, I got it on vinyl.
Yeah.
Funny, I got that on vinyl about 2 or 3 months ago for $30. The original.
Oh, then I also picked up, it wasn't originally on my list, but it was there, and that was Generation X.
Okay.
So I hadn't had a vinyl for that for a long time.
Do you know what I picked up on vinyl? And I probably paid more than I should have on it. But when I say who it is, you're going to go, yeah, I can understand that. Because I believe it's not that easy to get, is the Shadow King record.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yep. And then there was some others that, I also, now that you reminded me, I also got the Operation Mindcrime 2. That was the $77 one. They only had 1 copy of that in the store. They only had 1 copy of Motorhead in the store.
They brought out Mindcrime 2 on... I didn't know that.
They did, yep. And it was, so to get back to your question, was it chaos? No. Big-ass line. And, of course, at that point, they were the only thing open in the mall. Yeah. Everyone was just there for that.
So
Target was
Dunkin'
open.
Donuts would have been open if it was in there.
the line was just down the mall. Now, as we started to go in, I realized what the bulk of the people were there for.
Taylor Swift.
And I was impressed by that. That there were, because I was like, wow, there are like a lot of young girls in this line. Like, I'm thinking,
Motorhead.
what are they getting? Yeah, they must be getting Motorhead. And so as we, you get up, when I finally got in front of the window, I could kind of see, because they set them up. So that store, they use like a giant ass wall, and then they have some kind of subsections. Like out in Natick, they have it all on tables, so a little bit different. And so I think Natick was would be a little bit more chaotic, and I've been there later on a record store day, and it was a little bit different.
There was no thrash metal band had a record store day release, did they? I don't think so.
Not that I remember for this one, no.
Normally there is one, isn't there?
It varies.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was a good one, though. Definitely, it was an expensive one, but it was a good one.
You get some odd albums coming out in that, like Mindcrime 2 on vinyl. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Really? Like, that's just an oddball one. You'd probably never think, oh, yeah, I'd love to have that on vinyl.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of albums ahead of that I'd love to get on vinyl.
Well, even that debut Mr. Big one. Like,
yeah, but what I'm saying is that came out on vinyl originally. I'm talking about albums that are like in the last 10 or 15 years or so.
Yeah.
There's some Megadeth records.
Yeah.
I know people are going to fucking hate me for saying this, but I'd love Risk on vinyl.
I'd like a Risk on vinyl as well.
Yeah, and I don't think it's or Euthanasia.
Oh, yeah. I wonder how, that'd be demanding on the Curve, but with Nick's drums on that's powerful. Be interesting, though. Yeah, it'd be an interesting one to cut. Definitely have to be a double album.
Or The Art of Dying by Death Angel. Is that on vinyl? I don't think so. I know the other ones are.
I don't remember if that one's on vinyl.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the thing, too, though, is that because of their willingness to do double albums, then you actually do get enough wax to give you that space if you want to have that big bass and all that too. You can on a regular lacquer. So yeah,
some of the albums I'm mentioning now, they could be on vinyl in Japan and they could be on vinyl in Europe. I don't know.
Probably not, though. I mean, it is expensive to make the vinyl, make that master and everything else. There's a lot to it, and to have somebody to master it for vinyl and cut it and everything else. There's a big investment, and I don't think they're going to do all of them like that. So,
okay,
yeah,
okay. So you're going to go to the next one, bring your sleeping bag, your jar of coffee. No,
I'll tell you, dude, I was shocked at the line.
Just stand in there and just shout at the top of your voice with your hands out, "Stay the fuck away from me! Hurry up, you old bastard!"
In a way, ironically, I was happy to see that many people interested in vinyl.
No,
but
you weren't.
Like, holy shit!
You were until they fucking bought the one right in front of you that you wanted. Then you wanted to kill him.
I got my Van Halen though. That was my big one. My big one was I wanted to get that Van Halen. That was definitely a big one.
Have you looked? Bring that one up. Have you looked on eBay to see how the price they're selling that for now?
No,
you have not.
No.
So you said you paid 117.
Yep.
So you're looking upwards over 2.
Probably.
If someone has that on eBay, it's over 200.
Probably. And the thing is it might even be more, because I want to say that Van Halen has only ever released 4 colored vinyls, and they're all red. And I do know that A Different Kind of Truth, that one there, which was a limited release when it first came out, usually sells for somewhere about $300 a copy. I know because I've been looking, because I want one.
I have Fuck on vinyl with the hype sticker.
Yeah.
And that I can get a pretty penny for that.
I'm sure you can.
And it's in really good condition. Yeah. It was the last vinyl record I ever bought before. When I went to CDs. It was that one. and The Heat by Dan Reed Network were the last 2 vinyl records I bought, and then the following week I got a CD player.
Yeah.
And then fucking 30 years later, I fucking went back to vinyl again. Like the sheep I am. Anyway, we've been nattering for a while here.
We have almost 50 minutes.
Really?
Yeah.
Just
But I mean, I'm glad we actually got a chance to talk about 72 seasons, because
Yeah.
it is, again, it may have some, likenesses to the prior 2, but I do like it. I'm glad it came out. I can honestly say that I enjoyed it, and it's definitely an album that you listen to, that you don't just put on for background noise. You kind of space out a bit for some of Immorata, but it is an album that has your attention, which is cool.
Yes, it is. It has a bit of everything from their whole career. So if you're a Kill 'Em All fan and you don't like some of the later stuff, this probably is not going to do it for you. But if you appreciate everything they've done to its different degrees, you're definitely going to get something.
Yeah, and
out of this.
you can get a sense of the fact that some of these songs in the live set are going to sound fantastic, and I do know that
I think they're playing 3 or 4 of them.
they
already.
are. Yeah, because I've been looking at the set list.
They're mixing
coming out
it
of
up
the shows in Amsterdam and stuff. And,
Yeah.
and they're mixing them in, which is cool. So it'll be interesting to see come next August, what they play in the show.
I think they're going to still play a couple of songs because they're still doing 2+ hours, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it is the tour for this record.
Yeah, but
So
it is.
They're not going to do a Megadeth and play one song.
No, but remember that it is a no repeat.
Yeah. So over 2 nights, you
it's
get
2
2
nights and
different
it's 2 totally different shows.
Man, I wish fucking more bands did that.
You know. Yeah, but not every band out there is willing to dig in their catalog. Also, most bands out there, their fans won't react to a dig into the catalog either. You know what I mean? There's usually you watch, in a Metallica show, and when you're there, everybody seems to like every song, as opposed to Aerosmith, where I'm liking all the old stuff, and the new stuff, no, it's not as much. And you can see that some other people are even more polarized by it, with new stuff to old stuff. But it seems like, when I go see Metallica, people like all the songs, and they could pull something old out, and even if there's a person there that doesn't know like that song, the fact that the energy around them is so into that song, they end up being into that song.
Can you imagine the poor bastards? They might go one night and say, right, we're going to play all of Saint Anger, or we're going to do Lulu.
Oh, my God. Fucking Lulu. God damn.
Hey, they're playing a different set every night. You never know.
I don't even think on those multiple anniversary shows, I don't think they pulled a Lulu song. So, yeah.
The thing is, they can't bring Lou Reed up to do a song because he's dead.
And that's it. And Lulu should be like Lou and just stay dead. No. Oh, God. I don't know what they were thinking.
I wonder how would this fly with you? And this is right off the cuff here. Imagine one night they did a set, all covers.
Oh, I could totally see them doing that.
Well, how would you feel about it if you were going to see them play and they played all covers?
I'd like it.
You really?
I would, yeah.
Okay.
Because I know that they'd be playing like Saxon, Motorhead,
Diamond Head,
Budgie. You know what I mean?
More Diamond Head.
Yeah. So I'd be like, this is freaking great. Yeah, I'd be into it.
Yeah. Bob Seger. Oh. Merciful Fate.
I mean, with the exception of and actually I like Bob Seger, but I mean their cover catalog of stuff is fantastic.
It's pretty good.
It's the shit that I was listening to.
It is. It's
at the same time they were listening to it.
It's pretty good. But if you were to go to a Metallica show and you spend God knows how much money to go see him, and they just played covers. No, I could fucking see a tribute band or something.
I would definitely be like, yeah, and I'm sure would be people around going, what what the fuck? What the fuck? Yeah.
Or an acoustic show.
Okay, that might throw me a bit. That would throw me a bit.
Or you see all the orchestra going up beforehand, they're like, oh no.
Yeah, that would throw me. Yeah, no. Yeah, I couldn't handle that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're going, aren't you?
Yeah.
Next year.
First show, and I think obviously you had to buy both nights.
Do you know who's supporting on the night you're going yet? Or?
Yeah, Pantera.
Okay. So, and is it Wolfgang?
Yeah.
Oh, so it's Pantera, and then who's the other band? Five Finger Death Punch or something?
Five Finger Death Punch is doing night two.
And then someone else that I don't know of.
Yeah, so I think right now, as it stands, I'll do the first night, and then my buddy Jeff is buying the second night tickets off of me.
Okay.
Because, we just don't want to...
Where's in Foxborough?
It's in Foxborough. I don't want to do 2 nights in Foxborough with that chaos.
What month of the year is it on?
August. It's August 6th.
Oh, fuck, it'll be roasting.
So, I guess it'd be one thing if there's a really good campground in Foxborough. So, yeah, if we put the camper we had that weekend, that would actually be really freaking cool, because it would be, even though her house isn't far from Gillette anyways, but that would be a lot easier. But, yeah, I just can't see me doing 2 nights in a weekend at Gillette. That's fucking crazy. Yeah, I don't see that one.
Yeah. I'd like to see Pantera.
Yeah.
It doesn't really bother me that, I've said it before, Zach and Charlie are doing it. It's, the songs are fucking great. Just to
they
see
do a
those
great
songs
job.
live.
Yeah.
Fucking killer. All right.
You want to let's roll your talk with Kip.
Yep.
All right.
Hello.
Hello?
Hi, is that Kip?
Yes.
Hi, Kip. It's Richie. How you doing?
Good, how are you?
I'm okay. You in Nashville?
No, I'm in Orlando waiting to get on the cruise.
Oh, that's tomorrow, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. I bet you that's a lot of fun.
It's fun, man. Yeah, it's very fun.
Okay. So how many cruises have you done at this stage?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe 6 or 7.
With the band or solo? Both?
Both, actually.
Nice. So I want to start off, I'm asking all the singers this question over the years, and I don't know how often you get asked it, but what's the sickest you've ever been and still been able to do a live show?
Oh, God, I don't even remember. I never get sick. I cancel if I'm sick. It destroys your voice. I don't, and I can't even remember the last time I was sick, to be honest with you.
You're lucky.
Yeah, very.
Okay. So I know the band just announced shows in Japan. I'm curious to know what sort of gifts have you gotten over the years from Japanese fans?
Oh, I don't, just drawings and T-shirts and stuff like that. They're very nice people. They're big on gifts, so it's all very nice. But nothing that would stand out in my memory, like, oh my God, just very nice gifts and cards and stuff like that.
Okay, Don Dokken told me he got a Rolex.
Good for Don. But, it might not be true.
Okay. When you were playing there in the beginning with the band, were the crowd still sitting down and they wouldn't clap until the end of the song, that there was no noise at all?
In Japan? Yeah. That's how they do it.
Yeah. How weird was that for you as a performer to get used to?
Oh, it was just weird for the first couple songs, and then, I figured out that's just their culture. They're very intent on trying to understand what you're saying because they're translating it in their head,
Okay. Did you try and learn a bit of Japanese to speak it a little bit?
Not really. I mean, I suck at languages, so, maybe, thank you, and that's about it.
Okay. And what about the adulation over there? Were you able to leave your hotel and not get mobbed?
Oh, I mean, there's always a mob following me around, but they're very polite.
Okay. How do you deal with that in general, Kip? The adulation, like a lot of people, like, saying how great you are and all that. How do you deal with that without letting it get to your head over the years?
Man, I mean, no one ever recognizes me, and I never even consider myself as. I mean, I don't think of myself as a rock star or anything like that. My primary goal in life is to be a good musician. So everything I focus on is all about how the music is and what if it's a cool chord progression. I don't pay attention to any of that other stuff. That's just not in my wheelhouse of personality. I just focus on the music.
Okay. So you've always been grounded anyway. It wasn't something that anyone had to say, look, this is what's going to happen to you and here's what you need to do.
No. I mean, fame changes some and money changes people, but, mostly it changes the people around you more than anything.
Yeah. Do you think having a personality like that is one of the reasons why it's still the original band? That you're all more or less the same guys as when you started?
Yeah, absolutely. And we're all very good friends, too. So we just have a great time, together. We really enjoy the hang, and they're very funny. Red Beach is hysterical. So it's just a great hang.
Yeah. Now, I interviewed you for Better Days Coming, and one of the questions I asked was the gap between Karma and that record and the length of it. And you said that you didn't want the next record to have the same gap, but it's actually longer. Did you ever get a sense that the new album mightn't actually happen?
I always knew I would make this record. It was just Reb was very busy in Whitesnake, and I was very busy doing my thing. I wrote 2 hours of music for a musical and a symphony and a lot of music for a solo album and stuff. So we're just super busy and given the schedule that he was keeping, and it was the first chance we had to actually get it together. And then actually we started quite a while ago actually, but then COVID just put everything to a halt until everybody could travel again.
Yeah. So Reb told me in an interview I did for his solo record well over a year ago. I was talking about this record and what was going to happen with it. And he told me that you were setting the bar really, really high for this one. What do you know what he meant by that? Like, are you a perfectionist?
Yeah, I mean, I just want to, when you put out a new record, you want it to be as good or better than anything else you've done. So I think our catalog speaks for itself. There's a lot of good stuff there, and I don't want to just try to cheat the audience with a bunch of crap, And I have a lot of pride in the records that I make, and I want them to be inspired and not sound like a bunch of music that's getting phoned in. Have you heard the album?
Oh, I've heard the whole thing. Love it.
Yeah.
Love it.
Oh,
there's songs on it that aren't the singles that are probably my favourite songs. I love Heaven's Falling, the second track on the album. Brilliant song.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks.
And I love Stick the Knife In and Twist. That's very like something off Karma.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, thank you. Yeah, I mean, so when he says raise the bar, I mean, I have this thing that I call the 1,000-year recycle bin, and so many musicians like, well, what about this? And then play chord progressions that you've heard a million times, and you're like, that one goes on the 1,000-year recycle bin, like the words, filled with hot love and desire or shit like that. It's just like we've heard it all too many times. So like those things aren't allowed to go on my album.
Do you and Reb write the same way than you did in the beginning? Or has it changed over the years at all?
No, hasn't changed at all. We sit down with a drum machine and knock out some riffs and let it rip, Just take it from, inevitably Reb will come in with a few ideas and then we'll jam and maybe something else will happen by accident, so it's the same as it's been from record one, and that's what I was trying to do with this album. Every member played on every single track, for one thing, and I wanted to kind of search for the initial spark of the first album, like the energy and the kind of innocent, but not really innocent, but just like kind of spark of the first record, but combine it with the depth of what came after it with all the other albums, and so grab the energy of what it was like when Reb and I first sat down together, and then make a record that had the depth of everything that followed,
Now, when I sat down, it was either with you or Reb a few years ago, and we're talking about the second album and the fact that you had to write Can't Get Enough and Easy Come, Easy Go after the album was rejected by the label, and I think Reb told me you wrote them in half an hour, those two songs. Do you think the best songs come really quickly like that?
That's just total bullshit. He wasn't telling you the truth. He was probably exaggerating on something like, yeah, we wrote it in half an hour. For one thing, I wrote Easy Go by myself, and I was iffy about that song. I felt like it was a good song. It was a little too poppy for me, but Can't Get Enough probably took us a week or so to knock out. But the answer to your question, and I know what you're getting at, is that do some of the best things happen in the half an hour? And the answer is yes. I mean, sometimes things just are automatically there, and all you're doing is taking dictation of what the thing is. It's just right there in front of you.
Okay.
So
are there any songs on the new record like that were written really quickly?
Let me think about that. No, there wasn't, because my main objective with this was to not do typical modulating verse chorus stuff. I wanted to keep finding different angles to hit the listener with. A great example of that is Proud Desperado, where you hear the Proud Desperado, you hear that part and you think it's the chorus, and then after that, like, the other new chorus comes, And so we were thinking, wow, this is the chorus, and I kept listening to it going, no, man, we got to take it one further, So I worked on a lot of this stuff. Resurrect Me was another one like that, where we were searching for this chorus nonstop, It was just like, because I wanted the chord progressions to be something that we hadn't done really before, and that was something somewhat cathartic for my process, So, Reb, he's really good at just like the initial inspiration of stuff just coming off the top of your head, and then I'm good at like, okay, well, what we need to do with that is go here, and then maybe let's throw something really different at it, So that's where we work really well together.
Now, when you're showing Rod what to play and Paul what to play, are they able to interpret the songs at all, or are you like, no, this is the way we're doing it, you have to play it like this?
Oh no, they play. I let everybody go, hey, I hear this, like the keyboards on Broken Glass, all that stuff is Paul. I just, he just did his thing,
Yeah.
He's also playing the guitar solo on that song, Paul.
Okay.
That's his first guitar solo on a Winger album. John Roth played the solo on Time Bomb and One Light to Burn. And but the answer is no. I don't like albums where one guy plays everything necessarily. Sometimes it's cool, and I've actually done it myself, and I may do it again. But when you got a band of guys that are this talented, I don't sequester their talent. I'm like, hey, what do you got? Show me what you got. And if it rubs me wrong, like, that's not what I feel like for this. I'll fight everybody on it if I feel really strongly about something. But especially with Rod, I'm like, just do your thing, dude.
Yeah. Do you find it hard, Kip, to let songs go?
No, I find it hard to find it where they sit right with me until I'm like, okay, this doesn't need anything anymore. That's the goal, to get it to where it like sits right in your solar plexus, and you're like, okay, I don't hear anything else. Like, and my biggest thing is missed opportunity. Like, okay, is this musical idea, has it grown to its fullest, kind of ability or is there a missed opportunity with something happening in this song that I'm not thinking of? Like, could I make a cooler solo riff out of that part, that kind of thing. So it's all about missed opportunities, and if I don't feel like I've missed any opportunities, then I know it's finished.
Okay. So I want to talk to you now about the realities of touring for a few minutes. I think it was this year or last year, you were supposed to go to the UK, and you put out a video saying that, the rising costs and the promoters' guarantees, and there's a lot of different, facets to it now. It was one of the reasons that you didn't go. When did you get savvy to the business side of music? Was it very early on that you were able to recognize all these things? Sure,
because the money starts coming in, and when you get out there and there's no money at the end of it, you're like, what happened? So I was heavily involved in the management of the band from day one. We, Bo Hill and I basically managed the band. We hired a woman to help us and manage a lot of the day-to-day stuff, but we were calling the shots, and so from the very beginning, it was somewhat of a learning curve, but I learned a lot when I was out with Alice Cooper as the bass player. I got to just sit on the sidelines and watch how they do that. So that was like, going to get your master's degree in rock and roll touring, and then when I had to do it myself, I had a lot of experience by then.
Mm. Would Alice still be a musician that you'd contact for advice, or is there is there a lot of musicians out there that you'd contact and ask their opinions on maybe the business side?
That's a good question. I generally tend not to talk business with people like Alice. What I like to, maybe it might be, hey, what'd you guys do when you were out on tour with so and so? But so generally, I don't tend to ask those kind of questions. Maybe, like I was in Alan Parsons' band for a while. I sang with him. I asked him a lot of stuff about a lot of things. So I've been very fortunate, and I will say, go on record to say that everybody should have a mentor in the field that they're in if they want to become better. It's always great to buddy up to someone who's way cooler and better than you are, so you can, learn the chops from somebody who's been there. And I've certainly had many of them, but for the most part, for brain picking on music business stuff, I would choose managers that have managed huge acts like Shep Gordon or Larry Mazer, or people that I've known along the way.
Yeah. So Kip, being someone that's heavily involved in the managing of the band, how would you explain the decision using that cap to the band that might affect them adversely, if you know what I mean? Like, because I've asked this question to someone like Danny Bowes from the band Thunder, who's also the manager, and he says that there's different approaches to it. That the main approach he'll use is that he'll just sit them down and explain it from A to Z, and this is why we're doing it this way, and then they can decide what they want to do. How do you approach that?
I'm not sure I understand the question. To explain to the band how stuff is going to happen? Is that what your question is?
Yeah, because sometimes they might think that, why aren't we doing this? And you'll have to put on the manager's hat and not the band guy's hat and say, this is why we're not doing this.
Yeah. Well, Rod Morgenstein is very influential in the management side of our band too. So Rod and I talk about it, and Rod was in the Dixie Dregs, and they were largely self-managed. And he's a really solid money guy. And you could say, hey, Rod, what's 987 times 35? And he'll go, boom, give you the answer. So as far as budgets go, he can knock that out, no problem. We actually have some help right now with some other managerial tasks, but for the most part, the band guys have been around it so long. It's not like that. Like back in the first tour, that would have been the time when, we had to have band meetings and say, look, we're spending this much and we're not making enough on merch to offset the cost, whatever. And Red, for example, would prefer to just be on a bus and tour for the rest of his life. And like, I never want to get on a bus again as long as I live. So we have different needs, but everybody in the band is pretty savvy at this point. Because, Red's been in Whitesnake, Dokken, Night Ranger, Alice Cooper. And Paul was with Tommy Shaw and Cinderella and Steve Perry, and Rod was in the Greggs and was a professor at Berkeley. These are really seasoned guys, and there's no mystery here.
Yeah, I just got two questions, Kip, before I leave you go. You're going out with Tom Kiefer and John Corabi later this year, and I believe both of them live in Nashville. Do you know both of them personally?
Sure, yeah, no, I've known them forever, yeah.
Yeah, do you ever jam with them in Nashville at all? Like, is there a place that all you guys can get together and jam every now and again?
No, not at all. Sometimes they have a jam night in Nashville, but that's more in LA. They do like a bit like ultimate jam night in LA, but I'm not really a jammer, to be honest with you. I'm really more of a composer.
Yeah.
So I was a jammer when I was, 15, playing Grand Funk songs and stuff like that, and I love it. I love that,
Yeah.
But I don't. Listen, man. I've got so much stuff like in the queue. I don't derive much pleasure from jamming, to be honest with you. I'm one of these guys who's like playing a game of chess, I'm like, okay, what's the next move in this? Well, right now I'm writing a violin concerto for Nashville Symphony, so I'm kind of totally wound up in that. And I'm also touring with this band. So, a lot of times I don't listen to a lot of music, Richie. I hardly ever listen to music unless I'm studying it, to be honest with you.
Yeah. So final question, Kip. The Pull album is 30 years old this year, next month, I believe. Are you going to celebrate that in the live show at all? Maybe play a couple of songs off that album that you've never done live?
Where are you calling me from, by the way?
I am just outside of Boston.
Okay.
Yeah, you're actually playing up near me, I think, in the same weekend in two different venues, probably about 20 minutes from my house.
Got it. But you kind of sound. You have a bit of a. I'm trying to place the accent.
I'm Irish.
I was going to say Irish.
Yeah, I'm from
Ireland.
Ireland.
Insult you if I said the wrong thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the answer is yes. We play down incognito, obviously, but I like to do like Blind Revolution, Mad, Junkyard Dog. So it's also the 35th anniversary of the first album. So. We're trying to divvy it up, and a lot of times we're opening and we don't have as much time and stuff, and we got to play all the hits and stuff like that. But certainly, if we're in your neck of the woods, man, make sure that's known to me, and I'll throw some more stuff from Pull on the set list.
Yeah, because that's my favorite Winger record.
I appreciate that.
Yeah. So before I leave you go, Kip, I've interviewed you 4 or 5 times now, and I've never asked you a question about Beavis and Butthead, and I won't because everyone else does.
Well, thanks. I appreciate it.
Okay.
Nice of you.
So do you want to give out the social media sites where people can get in touch with the band?
Yeah, absolutely. wingertheband.com. Everything is on wingertheband.com. You can find all our socials there and all our touring, and if you want VIPs, it's all there.
Okay. Well, Kip, it's been a pleasure. Always a pleasure talking to you. I love the album, by the way.
Thank you very much, man. I appreciate your time.
Yeah, and enjoy the cruise. Hope the weather is good.
Thank you.
All right,
me too.
I'll see you later on in the summer.
Okay, bud. Have a good one.
Bye.
All right, there you go. Richie's talk with Kip. And as I mentioned, socials is all on Winger the Band, right?
Correct.
WingerTheBand.com.
And I am going to go see them for definite with John Corabi opening, who I've never seen.
Yep.
And Tom Kiefer, I've seen a few times, but I've never seen him solo.
At Hampton?
It's at Hampton, and it is also at Merrimack.
Fox. Oh, yeah, that's right. It's at Merrimack. Yeah.
So that's 20 minutes from here, isn't it?
About. It's
the Budweiser Brewery, isn't it?
It's the Budweiser Brewery. You come right off the highway, and you're pretty much straight in there. Yeah. Or you are like Nikki and I are, and you get to the end of the on, and you go, oh, hey, RV dealership.
I'd rather go there
Uh-huh.
than Hampton, because you go into Hampton in the middle of the summer, it's a beach, and it's full of fucking stupid people.
And the nice
Drunk
thing
as
is that, like I said, it's a straight shot when you come off the Exeter. And if you want to, you have the opportunity to take the back roads, take 3A home.
Ah, yeah.
So it's not bad.
I think I'll be partaking for that one for definite.
Yeah.
Fucking love Winger. Oh, anyway.
Yeah, I'll have to look and see whether that one fits our schedule or not. But yeah.
Karabi.
Right.
I've always wanted to see Karabi.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Always wanted
Yeah,
to
that'd
see
be
it.
good.
I know I think it's a solo acoustic
Yeah.
show, but
That's fine.
yeah, fuck. Just play some of the Motley songs.
Yeah.
You know how big a fan
Without a
I am
tape.
of that record.
Without a tape.
Without a tape. And a singer that can sing.
Yeah. Yeah, all
Yeah,
right.
maybe Karabi will come out, strum the guitar, and just turn the mic around, and everyone else can sing the song.
That works too.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So that's it for another week of Focus on Metal. Stick a fork in it. This puppy is done. So for myself,
Richie.
have yourselves a great metal week. And until we talk to you again next time, as always, remember.
Focus on metal.
Everything else is insignificant.
You're still here? It's over. Go home.